correct fingering for each pentatonic scale shape pattern coming up. So what we want to do is maintain the same finger structure for each pattern so that when you shift from one pattern to the other, your muscle memory takes over and off you go. So I'm going to show you each pattern starting with what I call the bass here. Now I'm going to shift the fretboard escalator so that we're always playing right around the middle of the neck. And it gives your fingers, you're not playing wide here and you're not playing narrow here. So let's start off with the bass pattern. It is one finger per fret. So if you see a note or a dot, then you're going to line up your finger with that. It's pretty easy with this first bass pattern especially. So I'm going to go through, turn on the metronome, 90 beats per minute, and we're going to go through, just watch the fingers and do the same. Okay, so what you want to do is do alternate picking. Take your time, 90 beats per minute. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to show you the fingering for that. So I'm going to just shift the fretboard escalator down so that our pattern is we're just changing keys here is all we're doing. We're going to center this pattern in the middle of our fretboard so that it's a little easier on us. Okay, we're just going to cover up the rest of the pentatonic scale. Now this we've got starting. We're going to do the same thing. If I line up my first finger over the A like this, right? So there's the dot on the guitar, there's the dot there, right? Then I would be starting with my middle finger here on this. Okay, so we're going to go through again, turn the metronome on, watch the fingering, and follow the same. Okay, that's that pattern. I call that pattern the house because of the upside down house of blues. All right, the next pattern over, I call this the mirror pattern. Again, I'm just changing keys to keep us in the middle of the neck, approximately the middle of the neck. So let's keep it right about there. This I call the mirror. Why? Because there's an empty line down the middle that this pattern seems to be mirrored left to right. It's just a simple, full straight line down with one bump out to the left, one string down, and a bump out to the right. So this is what I call the mirror. We're going to turn on the metronome. On this particular pattern, we're not going to start with our middle finger because we're going to shift back over. So let's start with our first finger on this one. That's my recommended fingering for that one. Let's move on to the next pattern. The next pattern is what I call lovingly the Rumpelstiltskin pattern. Some people know this as the C-shape pattern, but you can call it Bob for all I care. It doesn't matter. It is just a pattern. So why do I call it Rumpelstiltskin? Because I couldn't think of a better name for it, and Rumpelstiltskin has no name. I just need to make sure my mic is working, and it is. So we turn on our metronome and off we go again. We're going to start this time. We're going back to one finger per fret, back to the first finger starting the pattern. So that is the pattern for Rumpelstiltskin, or that is the fingering for Rumpelstiltskin. And we've got one more to do. And this is the one I call the twos. And again, we're back to laying your finger right where that dot is on the A string. And you're starting with now your first, or your middle finger, sorry. Okay, turn on your metronome. Grab your pick. Okay, so that is it. That is all 5 patterns. That's the fingerings that I would start with, especially as a beginner. Now, know you're going to change these fingerings later, but this is going to help you connect your pentatonic scale shapes, as I mentioned in my other videos. Now you know which fingers to use. You will modify it later, but don't worry about that. That is just going to come naturally. Start with these, and then you'll be able to branch out after that. If you like these tools and you want to learn in a new and different tactile way, stop downloading PDFs and actually get to work right away without your computer, head on over to Musiclabs.ca. Could really use your support for the Kickstarter campaign so that this can be in your hands too. Thanks.